In this video, I'm going to talk about the difference between how it feels to have a regulated nervous system versus how it feels to have a nervous system that is in survival mode. So as this is a trauma-informed video, I want to remind you that you can press pause at any time and take a break. Often when we're learning about trauma and things that are associated to it, we can feel some activation in our system. And if that feels too much for you, just remember that you can pause this video, take a break, ground yourself, and come back when you feel you have the capacity to continue learning. So with that being said, a lot of people think that a regulated person is someone that is always calm, that is always happy, and is joyful, for example. Maybe they might even think that that person is extrovert, and they think that that's what a regulated person looks like. And that's not really the case. That's not what we're looking for when we're talking about nervous system regulation. What we're looking for is a flexible nervous system. So a nervous system that has the ability to go in and out of different emotional states without feeling overwhelmed to the point of being shut down or the point of being in a survival state, such as needing to flee the situation or fight, for example. So being in survival mode, in a nutshell, is where you feel that your reactions are, let's say, for want of a better word, out of your control. Because it is out of your control. When we're in survival mode, we lose our ability to cognitively think rationally and to slow down and respond. We go into a reactionary state because we are in a survival state and we are looking predominantly just to protect ourselves and to keep ourselves alive. Even if there isn't, a seemingly physical threat coming at us, like a tiger or something like that. It could just be the threat of a text message, feeling that a text message is a threat, should I say, even though it's just someone saying that they're going to be late for dinner or that they can't pick up that thing. Or it can be a lot of different situations. I'm minimizing this a little bit at the moment, but we become really overwhelmed and we are unable to manage our responses, and instead we are just in a reactionary state. So that's what I'm going to explain a little bit more about now. So a regulated nervous system is a nervous system that has the ability to respond, ability to make decisions, to have agency, to make choices about how they're going to respond and the actions that they're going to take moving forward. And also it's able to recover. So you are able to feel stressed, you are able to feel a wide range of unpleasant emotions, but it moves through you. It doesn't kind of pull you there and leave you stuck there. So you're able to pause before reacting to some capacity. Whereas being in survival mode is just based on protecting yourself. So this protection can look different for different people, depending on what your nervous system leans more towards and what the situation is at the time. So that can mean fighting. So you might need to feel that you need to fight in that moment, have some kind of conflict, or you've got some kind of energy. You need to protect yourself. It could be flight. You need to get out of that space. It does not feel safe to be there, and you need to get out. You need to move. You need to leave. That's the flight energy. And freeze, which is where you just shut down, is so overwhelming that you shut down and disassociate and numb out in order to be able to get through that situation. Or fawn, which is the people-pleasing response. So you have to go along with something. You have to kind of play. You play at going along with something because you know that if you don't, then there will be other consequences, greater consequences than not. So we all have different defaults. I would say mine is definitely fight. I can get, if I'm really highly activated and when I am dysregulated, because this is survival mode. I'm talking about survival mode, but survival mode is when we are in a dysregulated state for a longer period of time. So even as a regulated person, I'm much more regulated now. I would say I'm very well regulated now. That doesn't mean I don't experience dysregulation. So I still experience anger. I still experience being in these survival states, but I don't stay stuck there anymore. So that's how I know that my nervous system is so much more resilient than what it used to be. And I can return to baseline so much more quicker than what I would have done in the past, which, you know, I might have felt in those states for days, weeks, months at a time. So being in survival mode is when dysregulation stays stuck. We don't feel like we can let that go, and we stay in either high alert, hypervigilance, or we go into shutdown, that disassociation, that disconnection, that freeze, that fawn state. And there's basically little sense of choice. We don't feel like we have a choice because, as I've said earlier, we don't. Our nervous system has taken over at that point. So regulation doesn't mean that we are calm all the time. It just means that we can feel a wide range of emotions without being overwhelmed by them and without staying there for so long. The period of time that we stay there depends on the context. So it's hard to say. There's a big difference between, you know, being angry at somebody who I don't know did something unintentionally versus you finding out that there's been a betrayal in your life, for example. The amount of time that you might feel dysregulated over those two situations is going to be different depending on what the health of your nervous system is at the time. But like one would think that those things would be different, but it's about your ability to kind of bounce back and to come back to regulation is what I'm saying. So your emotions don't take over your whole system, and a good sign of that is that you're able to stay connected to yourself. A sign that you're coming out of dysregulation is that you're able to stay connected to your own needs. So you're able to listen to your body's interoception and to be aware of the fact that you need to eat, that you need to drink, that you need the restroom, that you need to take a break, that you need to dim the lights. All of these, you need to stretch, you need to move. So you're able to still continue listening to what your body needs. This is a big sign of regulation, of a regulated nervous system, even if it is experiencing dysregulation at that time. And you're also able to stay connected to others. Sorry, lost my train of thought there. You're also able to stay connected to others, so you don't shut yourself out from being around other people. As long as those people that you're able to stay connected to you consider them safe people. So obviously, if you're in an environment where there aren't any people that you feel safe around, then it's understandable why you might shut down. But do you have the openness, the willingness to connect around people that you do deem safe? So being in survival mode is really, we feel a lot of urgency as well when we're in survival mode. Things need a lot, we're doing a lot of things and they need to be done quickly. The interesting thing is that if you're stuck in survival mode, you do everything quickly. You put a lot of things in your to-do list because you don't want to make space, doesn't feel, not don't want to make space, it doesn't feel safe to make space to rest and to slow down. So you have a very busy calendar and you do everything in a rush. This can look like brushing your teeth quickly, drinking water too quickly, as well as other tasks, driving too fast. Or domestic. I'm using domestic tasks because I think they're often overlooked. We just think about doing these bigger tasks more quickly, but it can be these small things where you realize that you are dysregulated. And you also might feel numbness, tightness, tension, bracing, on edge. You have difficulty sleeping, difficulty resting, and potentially you have a lot of racing thoughts as well. Now, I am someone that was in survival mode for a long time. I didn't experience a lot of racing thoughts. I just experienced a lot of things somatically. I don't know what that's a sign of. Maybe that's a sign of something else. I'm not sure. A lot of people do talk about having circulating and ruminating thoughts. But I just want to let you know, if you feel that you don't have those, I'm one of those people as well. I didn't have a lot of racing thoughts either when I used to be stuck in survival mode. I just felt it a lot somatically in my body. So moving out of survival mode and into regulation is a lengthy process. There are so many tools and techniques out there that are like, if you do this for 5 minutes, if you do this for 10 breaths, then you're going to regulate your nervous system. Eye rolling emoji. Of course, these tools help, and we want to explore all of these tools, but the regulation in survival mode is not the same as just being dysregulated because of stress. If you've had trauma, if your nervous system has experienced trauma where it has gone completely overwhelmed, it's over capacity, and you are feeling unsafe, then what we have to do is recultivate that safety in your body, in your environment. We have to teach the nervous system that we are in the present moment and we're no longer stuck in the past anymore. And we can explore all of these different tools and modalities, and I do these tools and modalities with all of my clients. I've trained in them, I've experienced them myself as well, but they build over time and compound over time. And we really need to get the bread and butter foundational stuff in place first about cultivating that safety. And I talk about this in my Trauma Foundations video series, my playlist about learning orienting, grounding, titration, co-regulation. All of these different things are super important for helping regulate the nervous, repair, restore, not just regulate. That's why I talk about the restoring your nervous system. You need to restore your nervous system, not just regulate it. It needs restorative care and repair, and that takes time and patience. And so also regulating your nervous system as well and getting out of survival mode and cultivating that sense of safety. It's not something that you can think yourself through only. It is something that we do with the body. Talking, in my opinion, is an important part of trauma healing, not in every single case and not all the time, and also not necessarily for everybody, but a combination of talking, sharing, and doing the somatic work is a really healing and nurturing combination. So I don't want you to think that you can just think your way out of it, because it requires more than just positive thinking. And if you are someone that is on their healing journey and wants support to process and integrate whatever it is that you have experienced and want to restore your nervous system from. My name is Donna Louise, and I'm a trauma-trained somatic practitioner, a functional breathwork coach, a clinical EFT practitioner, and I'm also a trainee counsellor, and I help people to get out of survival mode, to restore their nervous system and to reconnect with themselves. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Feel free to share it with anyone that you think might benefit from hearing this message. If you have any questions or concerns or thoughts that you'd like to share, please pop them in the comments section below this video. I'd love to hear from you and see if there's anything that I can answer for you in another video too. Until the next time, thank you for watching and take very good care.